So welcome. My name's Sherry Forsyth and I'm a peak performance coach from South Africa. And with it being February, the month of love, I'm doing a theme on relationships. And so every week of February, I'll be speaking about a different aspect of relationships. So today what I'm going to speak about is connection. A relationship can't be a relationship if it doesn't have connection. So what actually is connection? I'm going to ask you to make a comment in the box below about what you think connection really is. I mean, physiologically, the hormone that makes sure connection happens is called oxytocin. So that's physiologically what happens to us. But what is it actually? Is it just being in the same room together? Is it doing things together? Is it more than that? And what started me talking about connection today is that it was quite interesting for me that a few months ago, my husband didn't really realize what connection was. And that quite astounded me. So I thought, well, if he can think that, there probably are a lot of people who really don't know what connection is, firstly. And secondly, how to build connection. Okay, so I hope you've written a comment in the comment box about what you think connection is. Okay. My feeling on that is that connection is a deep engagement with each other. So you can have a deep engagement when you are in the same room as each other, but you could just be two bodies in a room with no connection. You can also have a deep engagement with somebody else when you're doing something together, but once again, you can just be two people doing the same thing with no connection. So for me, the connection is a deep engagement, and it's almost like your heart is joined by a silver cord with somebody else, to the point where sometimes you don't even really need to speak because you're just on that same wavelength. So that is what I think connection is. But as I said, I would love to hear what you think connection is. So why is it so important? I believe it brings richness and wealth and meaning and fulfillment to life. If you go through life without any kind of connection, I would imagine one is very lonely. You would feel you're living a half life. But then my job is to connect with people, so I maybe am a bit biased on that front. But I feel that a life without connection would be like living in a desert. So when should we be trying to build connection? Well, every day, a little bit here, a little bit there. Connection with your loved one, connection with your friends, with your parents, with your children. I feel it needs to be something that is done on a regular basis, and it doesn't have to be a huge, big, deep and meaningful connection every day. We would be totally exhausted by that. So I'm going to talk about a few ways that we can build connection. And I'm going to first refer to Heidi Schleifer, who is a relationship coach living in America. And she speaks about the fact that in any relationship, there are three different spaces. So there's my space, there's my partner's space, and the third space is the space in between the two of you. And so my feeling about connection is, what does that space between you consist of? What words can you use to describe that space between the two of you? And that will give you a good guide as to what you need to do to foster connection. So, for example, I might say between myself and my husband that the space between us is very calm and very peaceful. And I love the fact that it's calm and peaceful, because who knows, maybe in the past we've been very volatile. So for me, the kind of connecting things I need to do would be to foster the peaceful and the calm feelings. Okay, and that space between you will change from time to time. So what kind of words would you use to describe the space between you and your person of interest, your spouse, your partner, your lover, your friend? And once again, I would love you to just add into the comment box a few of the adjectives that would describe that space. Is it adventurous? Is it exciting? Is it full of variety? Is it very intense? Is it very deep? Is it very meaningful? Is it spiritual? And there are many, many words that you can use. I don't want to put too many words in your mind, but that space, therefore, will give you a guideline as to what and how you need to build connection. So that's my first step. The second thing I want to speak about is, in a way to foster connection, is to make sure that you are doing active listening. So that's not just any listening. That shows the other person that you really are invested and interested in what they are having to say. You can Google active listening and see a lot more detail about it, but essentially one of the a few ways of making sure that you allow your partner to show that you are really interested in them is smile, eye contact, we all know those, to sit forward in your chair to show that you're really interested in what they have to say. And then the whole idea of being able to reflect back to them what they are saying. So you can say something like, so what I'm hearing is X, Y, and Z. Is that correct? Okay. The other way to show that you are very on the same wavelength as someone is to ask questions, because if you're not hearing them properly, you won't be able to know what questions to ask. Okay, so that's the second tip. The third tip is when you hold space for someone. So in other words, you are going to just be receiving their information. And I believe that's a very sacred thing to do. So you're going to receive their information and just hold it. So you want them to feel very safe and that they can trust you just to put the information out there. You don't have to resolve it. And I'm speaking particularly to the men who feel that they need to come up with a definite solution. No, that's what we're asking is just holding space. So you are receiving the information into a holy space. And what my husband and I have found works really well is we actually have a plate that we can speak into, because then we know that we're not expecting advice, we're not expecting solutions, we just want to speak into that space. Okay, so that's the third tip. The fourth tip is, again, from Heidi Schleifer, and you can have a look on YouTube. She explains this whole process called Crossing the Bridge. Heidi, spelled H-E-D-Y, Schleifer. So I'm not going to go into the whole long explanation of it, but it's the most amazing process where you literally take yourself and you cross the bridge into someone else's world, because you want to know what it's really like for them. Okay, so I'm going to leave myself, my views, my opinions, my advice on this side of the bridge. And as I'm walking across the bridge, I'm making sure I'm leaving myself behind. And then I move across the bridge to my partner. And then my whole goal is just to find out where they are. So through saying to them, please tell me more, and please tell me more, and please tell me more. And the only other thing you then do is reflect back what they have said just to make sure that you have the right understanding. So it's a very profound process, very easy to apply, and it really does foster connection, because the whole goal is, I'm not trying to make a communication with you so that I can tell you what I think. I am making the effort to find out entirely what you are thinking, and that will enhance connection hugely. And lastly, just a little bit of a fun thing. For every day of the week, every day of the year, let me try that again. For every week of the year, so in other words, for 52 instances, I would like you and your partner to divide the 52 into half, so it's 26 each. And on a piece of paper, 26 individual pieces of paper, write fun things that you would like to do. Fold the paper, put it into a tin. And then once a week, you can take out of the tin, see what the fun thing to do is, and then try and make sure that you do it. And so that's just a much more light-hearted way of ensuring that there's some kind of connection. So my challenge to you is to try one of these 5. And if you're thinking some of them are a bit difficult, maybe start with the last one, which is 26 fun things to do. Write them down, put them in a tin, and see what happens to your connection. Thank you for watching, for giving me your time, as always. And I look forward to next week, where we'll carry on talking about human relationships and how to improve them in February, this month of love.